Let the meltdown begin. MMA Meltdown on the Fight Network. Let's do this thing. I am Gabriel Morency, and as you can see, we're sitting in a new studio, a kick-ass studio. Now, Robin Black's already done his show once in the new digs, but this is our first time here, Robin. I got to tell you what, this is Capital City. This is the big leagues, man.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if we're going to fit in here. Like, we're kind of a real upper cable type of on-air guys, you and me. This might be a little too slick for us, but we'll have to do our best.
Yeah, you know what? I've been on TV for nearly 10 years right now, and only once have I been on a channel less than channel 400.
Wow.
Yeah, we're Mr. Cable, but we're raising the level of our game here at the Fight Network.
You're going to have to wear pants, though, now, man. You can see through this table if you're not wearing pants.
I didn't know that my socks were going to be visible, to be honest. And if there's any men's stores out there that want to hook us up with a deal, Robin's got the kick-ass Fight Network. That's a pretty nice shirt you got.
Yeah, hey, man, new studio, got to be all official looking and stuff.
Yeah, he's got the nice dress shirt. But if there's any men's stores out there want to hook us up with some slacks or some socks, we're open for business here right now. But this new studio is in conjunction with the new fantasy sports network that Anthem Media Group has brought upon us, the first ever fantasy sports network, and not just baseball and football and NASCAR and all that type of stuff, but MMA fantasy as well. And counter moves seem to be at the forefront of the MMA fantasy movement. Others have tried. Counter move really found that the right format for this, and Crooklyn's got some kick-ass tournaments in which people are winning $20,000, but you got to put your own money down to enter that tournament. Me and Robin Black, starting with the Johnny Hendricks, Robbie Lawler card from Dallas, Texas, we're going to have our own Black and Morency Fantasy MMA League, and you can win $1,000, the first card out of the gate, thanks to the fine people at Countermove. Robin, I'm really excited for this.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun. First of all, I have no idea what fantasy sports is. No idea at all. You're the guy who understands gambling. You're the guy who understands odds, all that kind of stuff. I try to understand fighting. Maybe together we'll make this thing work.
Hopefully. We're going to be like peanut butter and chocolate, Batman and Robin.
I'll be Batman. All right. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Do we get to play for the 1,000? Like, if we win, do we win the 1,000?
No, that's a very good question. To be honest, I don't think either of us are going to win. I'm pretty sure some viewers out there are pretty sharp. I see them already talking about this counter move stuff, but we're going to have our own tournament, so you can look it up on Countermove. They have the list of the different leagues. We're going to have our own league, and we'll start it with the big pay-per-views, but we're going to start with this card, and basically you get like a $25,000 payroll.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because there's two types of people that should play our league. One is people who don't know what they're doing like us. You can learn it with us. And the other is people who are really good, so you can just roll right over us. You can just go in and take them.
Well, you and I combined. Now, we're both going to be playing, so we're playing against each other with everybody else out there. And like we said, there's $1,000 at stake, and it doesn't cost you anything to enter. So start spreading the word, or keep it a secret because you don't want anyone else to know you want to win $1,000. But word's going to leak. The tournament's not up yet, so don't start going there right now. But it will be next week.
Keep an eye on Twitter, Countermove.
Yes, we'll have the official launch of this next week. But as you stated, Robin, I understand odds. You know, I pick winners and losers for these fights. You're more of a fight technician, so this is right in your wheelhouse right here. So it would be too easy if everybody just had to pick winners.
Yeah.
So it gets broken down. How many strikes are going to be thrown in a round?
Submission attempts.
Submission, takedowns.
If you can get the knockout in the first round, you're going to get 100 points. There's different ways, but being a good analyst is going to pay off. Maybe you don't understand the balance between how much a guy costs and how much he might pay at first.
Exactly.
But if you understand what to expect from the fight.
You've been a manager. You've been a rock promoter. You've been in a rock band. You've been a fighter.
Yeah.
So you understand.
You're a gambler.
Yeah, so no, I'm going to understand, the payrolls of all this, but where it's going to get tricky, I find, is this is where the gambling actually comes into this, Robin, is we got a heavyweights fighting. How many strikes are going to be thrown? So you're basically, maybe 3, maybe 6.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe it'll be like Hunt and Silva when there was freaking 480 punches thrown. So this is where like you really
Yeah.
got to break these fights down, and you should be pretty good at this.
Yeah, it's going to take us a while to figure it out, but I think it's going to be cool. And like I said, people can figure it out with us. We'll air it before the Hendricks fight, and then we'll do the big pay-per-views and start amping it up. It's going to be fun. It's weird, though, right? It's like Anthem Media starts a fantasy sports network. Like you said, it's the first one in the world. Like I said, I don't even know what fantasy sports is, and we got a fight network. The most logical thing to put on here is this counter move thing.
MMA fantasy, man. It doesn't get cooler than this.
It doesn't get nerdier than this.
Well, no, it's perfect. It's perfect for the degenerates that want to win $1,000.
Yeah.
It's perfect for the fight nerds and fight geeks and the math geeks. Like, this is right in Reed Kuhn, man. Fightnomics.com. And in fact, Reed Kuhn will be coming on the Fantasy Sports Network next week to help us. Because, we need a little bit of help here.
Yeah.
We're both novices when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, though. I'm excited.
No, I'm jacked up for this. Just as evidently over 1.1 million people were jacked up for Bellator this past Friday night. It topped out at 1.1 million. It averaged 880,000 views. And, there was a lot of snickering going on after the fact. It wasn't pretty.
No.
King Mo gets there, although there were some moments in which Zayats looked like he was going to win the fight. Rampage Jackson gets there as well, and this is what Bellator wanted, to get King Mo and Rampage in there together. But then immediately after the fight, I thought I was watching TNA wrestling. Maybe it was Thursday night and I was watching TNA, but no, it was Bellator with the clearly, obviously staged confrontation in the cage after the fact. And I saw a lot of people say, what a joke, this is horrible for the sport when you have that type of angle being brought into mixed martial arts. What's your take on it? Is it an embarrassment to the sport?
Oh, man, I don't know if it's an embarrassment, but you got to ask why you like this stuff. Now, if you're Bellator or the UFC, if you're in the business of fighting, you don't care why people like it. You don't care. As long as they buy your pay-per-views, they buy your stuff. But I personally like to watch what happens when you put two elite athletes together, you get them highly trained, and they look for holes in each other's game, and the beauty of fighting unfolds. I could give two craps about, some stage fighting. I think it's kind of dumb. I hate reality TV because you get people who don't know how to act and you ask them to act. Producers tell them there's no reality. It's the same thing here. You get two guys who aren't good pro wrestlers and you get them to act like pro wrestlers. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
And the thing is, there is a little bit of a rivalry between these guys.
Is there? Maybe there is. Maybe they're friends. I don't know.
Not to that extent yet. Bellator is not alone with this. And don't think for a second at the Vanderlei Silva, Chael Sonnen stuff. They've had multiple stage confrontations. The first one when he confronted him at the weightlifting exposition in Vegas. And then the second one on the TV show in which everything, Robin, on The Ultimate Fighter is supposed to be a secret. Yeah. There's non-disclosed contracts out there. Yeah. If you're in that gym, we're going to sue your balls off for $5 million if you even mention what color the guy's shorts was.
I got a guy that I manage on The Ultimate Fighter Canada versus Australia. I know what happened. At least I think I did. He won't tell me, but you know the guy well enough to know, from his mannerisms what happened.
You can figure it out.
I think I can figure it out. But if I said anything, man, you're going to pay $2-3 million for that. You can't say nothing, Yet somehow this is released. The UFC goes, well, we got this footage that's going to come out of Vanderlei's guy throwing a punch. I know it's weird.
Isn't this kind of where we're at right now, though, with mixed martial arts? Kind of an ugly era right now, Robin, isn't it? The promoters seem to be kind of confused about what they are.
Yeah.
The UFC has sort of gotten away from just the fights.
Yeah.
As real as it gets, we don't care who wins. We're going to sell the fight no matter what. And this is why it's refreshing that we have Hendricks and Lawler coming up.
Yeah.
Because this is a,
Lawler ain't gonna play
what's
games.
The best way of putting this? And part of my language, but this is a no bullshit type of fight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We got Hendricks and Lawler, two guys that are going to be throwing to knock each other the F out.
Yeah, everything is driven by commerce. So what you hope is this no bullshit fight, like you said, actually does numbers. Right? So then they go, wait, let's just put good fighters together. Forget about this nonsense and we'll make money. That's what you hope happens. It's a cool fight, man. Two southpaws. Hendricks has a crazy hard left and Lawler has a crazy counter right. When you put southpaws against each other, that's an interesting thing. Both badasses. I really love that fight. I'll take one of those fights for 10 King Mo's and Rampage Jacksons any day.
I tell you what, that's a great point that you raise, Robin. that if this is a heavily bought card and people, this is a lunch pail, screw the hype, reality.
Hard hat and show
This is an old, in Texas, Lone Star shootout type of stuff. You're right. They'll give us more of the Matt Brown's Condit type of fights. That's what I want to see.
For sure.
And people are like, oh, why are you so hard on the UFC recently? Because I love it and because I care.
Yep.
If you see a buddy of yours that's doing stupid things over and over, you're going to tell them if you care about him.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's take a quick break and we'll come back and we'll talk about some actual fights. MMA Meltdown continues. MMA Meltdown on the Fight Network continues. I am Gabriel Morency, sitting alongside Robin Black. Last week, me and Robin debated and had a pretty lively conversation about Ronda Rousey and her opponents, basically, in which I'm feeling as if though the UFC doesn't want Cyborg Santos anywhere near Ronda Rousey. They don't want, I think there's like a restraining order, let alone they're going to get in a cage. I don't think Cyborg Santos is allowed within 500 yards of Ronda Rousey under any circumstance. And I thought it was pretty comical last week when Dana White said, Cyborg's got to prove herself at 135. She's got to show us something. And win a couple of fights at 135.
But they had a 1-0 guy from Mongolia fighting over in Macau.
and I took a lot of heat. The Rousey fans are like, screw you. The Misha Tate fans are still upset that I pointed out that her breasts were too low after the surgery.
I think she looks great.
No, she does.
Yeah.
She does. I was just commenting, and I repeated something that a female fighter said, and I got called out for it, right?
You must admit that when a female fighter says something about a female, that is going to work out a lot better than when you say it.
I know. Now you know. No, you're right, actually. I didn't know.
Now you know.
That's a good point, Rob. Because basically, Marina Shafir came on the show and said, screw Misha Tate and her bad breast job. And I repeated it after, and I'm the bad guy that hates women's fighting. So here we go. I'm going to dig myself a little deeper right now, Robin.
I'm not the smartest man in the world. I'm not an expert in ethics and political correctness, but that one seems obvious in retrospect.
Yeah, I guess. I don't always make the right decisions. But
that's why people love you, Gabe.
There's love or hate, but apathy kills, Robin. But there's a rumor this week, and man, Twitter lit up with this one. It was Joe Rogan who said there's going to be a major announcement in women's MMA. It's going to shock everybody. And then Dave Meltzer picked it up and said, is Gina Carano coming back?
Which he said kind of in passing, I think. Not really kind of saying it's happening, but everybody has run with it, yeah.
Well, that's what we do here in the media. Right? Speaking of bad decisions.
Yeah.
But it's out there. So Joe Rogan's the one that started it. And then secondly, Meltzer said, I think it's Rousey versus Carano July 4th. I was discussing this on Twitter, and Kit Cope responded. And if anyone would know, of course, he used to go out with Gina Carano, former fighter, and he said, no, it's not versus Rousey, but he didn't complete the tweet, basically. But I believe that Gina Carano is coming back to the UFC. I don't know if it's against Ronda Rousey, but if it is, I'm going to be pretty upset, and it's pretty much going to prove everything that I said.
Logically, you put her up against somebody a little bit lower level first, and assume that if she wins, you're going to do against Rousey. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. But just like King Mo versus Rampage, this isn't pro wrestling. You can't just say, well, if Gabe fights Wei Ting behind the camera, hopefully Wei submits him and then he can face Rock.
Ask Elite XC about Kimbo Slice, right?
Exactly, man. You just can't do that. So, barring that she could lose, you have the two beautiful women, giant crossover stars, the biggest female stars ever. The UFC is about making fights that make money. It makes more sense to just kind of do it out the gate. What's my opinion? We just talked about Lawler and Hendricks and how amazing that is. Two of the top, the number 1 and number 3 guy in the world fighting for the title. No bullshit, no nonsense. That's what Robin Black likes in fights. But, it's hard to argue, man. They still run a business. They got to make money. They got to sell tickets. Two beautiful crossover stars. I mean, I'll watch. I'm sure I'll still enjoy it, but Ronda Rousey should be able to just absolutely school that woman in the first round. And I'm a big Gina Carano fan. I think she was a fantastic fighter.
Stand-up was pretty good.
Pretty good, but when you step away for the length of time that she has up against a savage animal, like Ronda Rousey, I can't imagine she would have much of a chance, but man, it would do big numbers.
And I got to agree with everything that Robin says to an extent in that I can't dispute it. The ESPNs in the world will be all over this. Hell, Entertainment Tonight will be all over this.
Exactly.
And when people say, oh, it'll be such a big fight, is it a big fight or will it be big hype around the fight? And you're right, they're searching for the big hype. But once again, this would be a distraction than it is in Cyborg Santos. Now, you know what? My memory might not be perfect, Robin, but I believe Cyborg Santos beat Gina Carano in 2009. So we're going to have Carano coming in off the street because she's hot. And Cyborg, go fight 135 pounds somewhere else. They're never going to let Cyborg in. That's my take on this. They're going to wait this out. Ronda's going to make as much money as they can. And there's maybe, I don't know if it's to protect Ronda. Maybe it's because Tito is involved. Maybe
he's out now. He's out. They told her to get rid of him, and that'll bring her closer.
But it didn't bring her closer. I just
think she's still money. It's just Gina Carano is this much money, and then her fighting Cyborg, Beauty and the Beast.
No, from a business standpoint, there's nothing good for the UFC that can come out of it.
I don't know, man. I think Cyborg wins. Tickets.
Cyborg wins. They lose Rousey, who's the meal ticket right now. And worse, they have to promote her after. I don't think Dana wants her in the company or likes her. It's sort of like Ben Askren. We don't care who you are. Screw off.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's a crazy thing. In my mind, you're doing money selling Ronda Rousey, fighting a fearsome woman who failed a steroid test, who's more muscular than most of the men, who's got a deep voice and is scary and smashes people's face in. For my money, you're making money doing that. And if she loses, you got the rematch. But I don't know. It's all pretty weird. Sometimes we do spend in the sort of global we of MMA, we spend a lot of time analyzing what Dana White is doing. I don't know if sometimes he can possibly know what he's doing. He's running 75 businesses in 15 different countries, making all these things. If he's just pissed off that day, there's no Cyborg fight. Sometimes it's, I think, as simple as that.
And I think as well, Dana White gets a lot of credit, but he also takes a lot of heat. And Lorenzo Fertitta makes a lot of decisions.
Yeah, for sure.
It's almost like Rob Ford and Doug Ford. Rob Ford's the one out there getting ripped, while Doug, is telling him what to do, and
Dana White doesn't smoke crack, though, right? No, come on. Dana White does not smoke crack. No. We're not having our second day in the studio with somebody suggesting that Dana White smokes crack. He's an upstanding man. He likes to gamble. That's about it.
Yeah, that's right. All right, so before we get out of here, Dong Young Kim was a big favorite, and justifiably so, against Hathaway. It was an early morning card last week in China. Your friend Albert Cheng came up short in China. We got another Fight Pass card, this time from England. Pretty good card this week. Gustafsson's a 4-1 favorite against Manawa.
Yeah, I figure that's accurate. Last week, top 3 fights were great. Hioki fight was great. The heavyweight fight was awesome. 4 minutes and 59 seconds. And the Dong Young Kim fight was fantastic. Hathaway, super tough. His chin was crazy, and he was kind of doing better as the fight went on. He kept throwing that right elbow at Dong Young Kim from this angle, and the southpaw slipped that and spun back and smashed him. This week I like, but I think Gustafsson, when he was facing John Jones, me and a lot of other people were like, oh, he has no chance. He's going to get killed. I'm not going to sell him short this time. He's going to win this fight. He's going to look amazing. He's going to wrestle and put him on his back a lot, I think.
All right, we got about 30 seconds here. An intriguing fight is Michael Johnson versus Melvin. Johnson's been getting better and better. It looks like he's starting to put it together right now.
Johnson's mentally super strong. Melvin has been questionable, although looked better over the last while. They've trained together. I think that benefits Johnson more than it does Gillard. And Johnson has got better and better and better. And my buddy Evan Boris, who is one of the striking coaches down at the Black Zillions, said he outworks everybody, and he's a real good, like a significant learner. And those guys become really mentally strong, and he's going to win the fight.
Great insight from Robin Black. And you can check him out on the Fight Network. He's got a legion of fans, and don't forget, all you Robin Black fans, you can jump in the league with Robin and win $1,000 starting next week. It's the Lawler-Hendricks card. I can't wait to start this next week with the 5 people over at Counter Move. Robin, it's always a pleasure.
Thanks, man. Good hanging.
Thanks to Robin Black for joining us in studio. If you missed Joey Odessa, unfortunately, Joey had a power outage in Costa Rica, but Joey on Sirius XM channel 167 every Tuesday night at 10 o'clock, MMA Meltdown Radio. And Joey will join me later in the week for a podcast as well, which will break down all of the fights. Now, we're not going to be seeing Thiago Silva fighting anytime soon, but we have some exclusive footage of Thiago Silva playing in the prison baseball league.
Por dentro, le da pelotazo. Cuidado que Jeremy salió con un No, cuidado. Esa no puede ser. No, esa no puede. No. Esa sí, ya hay que parar. Eso sí no puede ser. En algún momento pasará.
Look at the dude swinging the bat at his head.
Esto sí no puede ser.
You know, next time Thiago Silva goes on a rampage, bring a bat, not a gun. The charges won't be as bad as we saw. The dude's got to be a bad hitter. Like, really, if he would have connected with that guy's head, it would have smashed open like a freaking watermelon. Now, this next video is, I don't even know what to say about this. This actually might be a new low for us, this video, but how many times, like, are you going to see 2 dudes with one leg fighting with crutches at the beach? We just couldn't resist.
Quiera já. Tá dizendo que é o quê, pô? Você é que nem eu, rapaz. Não. É sim, tu não tem a perna também, não. Mas tu tá aqui, tá doido, tá? Oh. Anda certo, aqui é onde não. Ah, é? Joga a mulher do céu, homem.
Please, Father, forgive me. I said, what to make of that video? Just what can we say? I think we have hit new lows. We promised to do much better next week. So I guess we're pretty much out of time here already. Only a 30-minute show this week due to scheduling conflicts here. We'll be back kicking ass next week. Thanks to Robin Black and everyone here at the Fight Network. Other than that, you're on your own. Later.